I know some of your listeners may say, "Hey, Ted, I can't write an ebook. I can't write a book." By the way, an ebook is somewhere between like 5,000 and 9,000 words. My book was like 9,500 words. If that's too intimidating to you, here's my other tip: go to LinkedIn. Maybe some people have been to LinkedIn to put their resume up there and never been back. Okay. But on the homepage, Rose, in the top left, there's a little button or link that says write an article. So you
Mm.
click on that link and you'll get this template. At the top of the template, it's looking for an image. And what I recommend, this is a site I like, Pixabay. Have you ever used
Yeah,
Pixabay,
Pixabay,
Rose?
yeah. Yeah.
Pixabay. And the reason I use them was I got a bill in the mail from Getty Images for $1,000
Mm.
because my webmaster had unauthorized use of one of their images. Now, it only has to happen once, and you'll never go there again. Okay.
Talking with the experts.
Hello and welcome to Talking with the Experts. My name's Rose Davidson from rosedavidson.com. And Talking with the Experts is about all things business by business owners for business owners. And you can find it on all good podcasting streaming platforms and on YouTube. And today it's my pleasure to introduce you to Ted. Now, Ted Janet, I'm hoping that's right.
Yeah, like the girl's name, Rose. I know it looks intimidating.
Ah, perfect. Okay, so he writes books, and it's
Well,
amazing. He
yes.
publishes his books on Amazon, and unlike
Hmm.
his regular job where you can show up to work and get paid, most professional speaking, training, and consulting consists of endless self-promotion. And some speakers, trainers, and consultants have spent hundreds of thousands or even thousands of dollars or even tens of thousands of dollars
Oh,
in an
definitely.
attempt to get their business off the ground. And Ted is the author of Superpower Marketing and Branding for Professional Speakers and Trainers, No Cost and Low Cost Resources to Propel Your Business. And the book gives practical and inexpensive ideas to jumpstart your professional speaking, training, or consulting business. Welcome, Ted. I can't wait to hear your little hints and tips because it interests me because I'm planning on writing a book later this year.
Oh, very good. Very good. Well, the first thing I want to tell you, just as far as speakers go, Rose, is people don't want to hire speakers. They want to hire experts who speak. And one of the best ways to show yourself off as an expert is to write a book. Um, I remember after my first book, I gave a presentation, and the lady in the audience just looked at me with awe because, like, I was the very first published author she knew, and she said, "Could you autograph your book for me?" And like, yeah, sure, yeah, that's fine. And it used to be back in the day where I remember my first book, Rose. In order to get a decent price on it, I had to order 2,000 copies. Do you know what 2,000 copies of a book look like?
Yeah, a
It
lot.
came it came on a pallet. I mean, I had to store this in my basement, attic, and garage, my neighbor's basement, attic, and garage. The copy started getting moldy. You don't have to do that anymore. It's just so much easier, like you said, by publishing right on Amazon.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I know of people that have done exactly what you've done, and yeah, if your friends and family don't want to buy it, then you're just stuck with all these books, and so you just put them
Right.
aside for kindling.
You felt my pain, Rose. Yes.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I guess tell me a little bit more about your speaking. I know you do keynotes, and one day I'll be doing a keynote. Not quite there yet, but I will get there. Tell me a little bit what you discuss at these keynotes.
Oh, okay. Well, my keynotes are a little bit different because you'll notice I'm pretty opinionated about things. it really bothers me when I go to a conference and this person, who I have no idea who it is, gets up there and tells his or her story, and 45 minutes, an hour later, he or she's gone. And all these people come from all over the world, and they just sit there in silence listening to this person. And you know what a trouble it is to get to these places. We were talking earlier about, I had the opportunity to give a keynote presentation down there in the Gulf Coast. And you were saying, Rose, people are just fascinating. Maybe the person who could really help you is sitting right behind you, but you'll never get to meet that person because you're all sitting there in silence listening to the sage on the stage. So what my keynotes do is I get people engaged, talking to each other, getting to know more about themselves and each other. So that's how my keynotes are a little bit different, because that just really bothers me when you go through, you may be spending thousands of dollars and dozens of hours and you're flying across the country and then you just come and sit. I mean, if you're going to just do that, you may as well be sitting at home like we're doing right now. Why go through all that effort? So that's what makes my keynotes a little different.
Yes, I think that's a great way to actually have a keynote, is to people are actually talking. It's nothing worse than going to a keynote or a training or whatever, and you're just sitting there and your butt gets
Right.
really sore because you're not doing anything.
Yes.
You're just listening, and you get really tired because your brain can only absorb so much
Exactly.
chatter.
Yeah.
And
The brain can only absorb as much as the butt can endure.
that's it, pretty much. Yes. Yeah, I've been through those, and then trust me, they're not pleasant.
Yeah, the keynote's up there. He's saying, I did this and I did that, and I'm so wonderful. And, I climbed this mountain or whatever. It's like, what does that do for me?
Well, it doesn't
I
do
want to get to know the
anything.
people around me. I want to know the interesting people, because that way, when I get back to the office and I have an issue, I know that Rose has already been through that, and I could call her up and say, Rose, give me some insights on there. Those are the people you want to get to know, not the person who shows up and throws up.
Absolutely. Yeah, I agree. It's just like you're sitting through someone's webinar, and, they spend, it's an hour webinar, and for the first 30 minutes, they're just talking about themselves. I
Exactly.
think, because I do that for a living, is making PowerPoint presentations for people. And I think,
Oh,
why in the hell would I want to sit through half an hour of listening to you babble about yourself when I've,
right.
Either paid money or, you know, given up my time to want to learn something? And, I just dislike it. It really annoys me.
Well, you touched on another one of my pet peeves. As far as PowerPoint presentations go, exactly what you said. All right, let me tell you all about our company. It was started by my grandfather in 1905. We have 10,000 installations, 15,000 satisfied clients. So what? Who cares? What's in it for me? In fact, what I would recommend in a presentation like that is to come out and say, I don't even know if we can help you, but let me tell you a story about somebody who maybe is like you and maybe had some issues like you do. And let me tell you what we did for her. And so what you do is you make the audience member the protagonist. You make them the key figure in the story. Because the reason we tell stories is because people, like in my presentations, I'll tell stories about my wife and my kids, not because I want you to know about my wife and my kids. You don't care, but you'll see your spouse and your children through my stories. That's why you tell the stories. So you tell this story about this person, and you start. We love conflict, so you start off with talking about the issue that they have and how you've been able to help them, and what they said about it. Because the number one mistake, the biggest marketing mistake most small businesses make, according to marketing guru Dan Kennedy, is they don't get and use testimonials. Our own marketing puffery, who cares? But if it's somebody I know, somebody in the community whose opinion I value, who I trust, that's going to be worth far more than anything else we have to say. So make it be about the other person, and let them tell you let them tell your new client what a great job you did for them, because that's going to be far more believable than any salesperson.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it's just, it amazes me that, as I've said before, that people just sit there and talk about themselves when we don't really care about them at all. That
Not at all.
the keynote should be about the audience. So that's
Exactly.
when I'm teaching people how to
Mhm.
do their slide decks and, do a great presentation.
Good for you.
It's, telling them that their audience is the most important thing. So,
Mhm. Yeah.
don't,
And I think the reason we do that, Rose, is because we're lazy. Well, first of all, we'd rather talk about ourselves because that's the most important person in the world is me, right? Uh, but we don't get to know our customers. We don't get to know our prospects. We don't get to know our clients. So then by default, we have to talk about ourselves because we have nothing else to say.
yeah, yeah. So you've got this thing here that we'll show you how you can write and publish your ebook on Amazon for just $5. Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
Sure, be happy to. Like I said, people want to do business with the experts. And if you wrote the book, you are the expert. Now, don't write the book thinking that you're going to become rich. And, don't think that you're going to write the next Harry Potter series and then become fabulously wealthy and you'll be able to retire. That's not the reason you write. You write to show that you are a trusted member of the community. And the way you subtly market yourself, Rose, is you talk about, just like we just mentioned, you talk about people that you've been able to help, because in those stories, people will see their story. And they'll say, well, hey, if Rose spoke to this group and was such a phenomenal success, why don't we call her up and see if she can speak to us? So you write the book a little bit differently. You write it as a marketing piece that people will actually pay for. Rather than sending out brochures or, in the speaking business, we have one sheets that just say how great I am. Mark Victor Hansen and Jack Canfield say that Ted Janusz has been the best speaker on the planet for the last 5 years. That's what they look like, which of course is not true. Okay. Don't make it be about you, make it be about them. That's the main takeaway here, because most people spend most of the day thinking about how any action is going to benefit them. They spend very little time thinking about you or me.
Absolutely. Yeah, I totally agree. And I don't know why, speakers or trainers or consultants, when they're giving, their talk, or especially their talk, I mean, not so much about books, but their talk, and it's just all about them. And I think,
Yep.
go
Yeah.
away. I just wasted my money and my time.
Right. Well, to get back to your question, though, it's really hard to write a book. Okay. You're just sitting there with a blank piece of paper, like, oh my gosh. And then you write one sentence and you start correcting it, right? A quote has been attributed to Ernest Hemingway. He said, write drunk, edit sober. Well, maybe not exactly that, but you understand what he's saying, right? Yeah. Just let the ideas float. You don't have to necessarily start at the beginning. You can start in the middle, start someplace, just get started. And for this book that you just mentioned, Superpower Marketing and Branding for Professional Speakers and Trainers, I actually cheated. I was giving this presentation to a chapter of speakers, and one of the members was kind enough to record the session for me. It was a 1-hour session. After I got the video back, I uploaded it to a site called rev.com.
Yeah.
For $1.25 a minute, they will convert that video into a transcript. So I uploaded it to Rev. A few hours later, I had an 11,000 word document. And all I needed to do, Rose, was go in there and edit. I mean, I love to edit, hate to write. Okay. It's just so much easier. And 80% of the work of creating this book was already done. And what I liked about it is that, I don't know, so many books are like so stuffy, like they're written by an English teacher. I think the best type of communication is what we're doing right now, where it's just a conversation. So the book was written in a very conversational tone because I was delivering it as a conversation. So all you need to do is, take that regular spiel, like for your clients, Rose, when they're delivering these PowerPoints, have somebody record them, upload them to Rev. You'll get the transcript back and you got your book right there. All you need to do after you edit it, obviously you're going to write it, you want to take a look at the grammar and punctuation, things like that. After you do that, you just go to Kindle Direct Publishing, which is part of Amazon, and you upload the Microsoft Word document to them, and they'll make it look like a book.
Yeah,
There's just one thing you're missing. What do you think that is, Rose? What's the one other thing you need to make that a book?
I don't know. Do you
The
tell
cover.
me? Well,
The
yes, I
cover.
was thinking that, and I thought, no, that's too simple.
Yeah, hey, that's the only thing that's missing. Now, here's another thing that really ticks me off. You're never going to have me on this program again because I'm so opinionated. I hate these self-published books that look like self-published books. People go through all this energy and effort where they write the book and they have it edited and they put in graphics and illustrations. And then they have this cover that looks like it was done by a kindergartner. Don't do that. Don't do that. But you don't have to spend tens of thousands of dollars, even hundreds of dollars. For my book, let me show you this. For the cover of my book, I went to Fiverr. Are you familiar with Fiverr,
Yeah,
Rose?
yep. I've used them a few times.
Yeah, I went to Fiverr. Now, you probably know, unlike you, Fiverr is hit or miss.
Yeah,
And
it can be. Yeah, you got to do your
yes,
research.
right. So I would only go with a recommendation. All right. But I highly recommend the person who did the cover of my book. He's ebook cover underscore expert. Ebook cover underscore expert. And he did the cover of my ebook for $5. And
Geez,
I don't know
that's all
about you,
right.
but this does not look like a self-published book.
No,
And it's
it
very
doesn't.
important. It's very important because, as you know, people judge a book by its cover.
They do, yes. And it's, just like when you're eating, if it doesn't look nice, then in your brain, it it won't taste nice, even though that it
Exactly.
probably does taste nice. But your eyes, they give I guess they're the windows that you
That's a good
perceive
way of
things
putting it.
through.
Yeah. And I've seen the work you've done, Rose. It's very aesthetic, very pleasing. It's very
Oh,
inviting, and people want to continue.
thank
Hmm. Yeah. So you know.
you.
So that's all you need. So that's like I say, why not position? It doesn't matter what industry you're in. Okay. You can position yourself as the expert because you wrote the book. Now, in
Absolutely.
addition, of course, you can make it available on Amazon. So when people are when they're searching for your particular topic, there's hundreds of millions of people who are readers on Amazon. That they might download your ebook or buy your book. I find it kind of humorous, Rose, when I'm going through my bank statements and all of a sudden I'll see these deposits from Amazon. And I'm used to giving money to Amazon, not getting money from Amazon. Then I'll suddenly realize, that's from the sale of my ebook. So
So
why not?
how do you gauge the cost of a book on Amazon?
How do you judge the cost? Okay, well, for ebooks, the best-selling price is $3.99. If you sell somewhere between $2.99 and $9.99, your margin, your commission, your markup is 70%. So somewhere in there is probably the sweet spot, you know. And to contrast that, I have a friend who has a book. He is a best-selling author. Now, you will never speak to a speaker who isn't a best-selling author, all right?
Mm.
But he is a legitimate Amazon best-selling author. And any idea, Rose, on how much royalty he gets per book that comes from this major publisher? Take a guess.
I don't know. Would only be cents, I would have thought.
Yeah, $1.50,
Hmm.
$1.50. But for instance, if you price your ebook on Amazon at $2.99, you'll get to keep over $2 because
Hmm.
there's that 70% commission. Yeah.
Hmm.
And
Yes.
what did it cost you? Like I said, you could put it out there for $5.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
You sell 3 copies of the book, you're already in the black.
Yeah.
You've already made money.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the other thing is, that book can go places that you could never go. You have no idea. Maybe somebody here in the United States or somebody there in Australia might pick up your book, and you'd have no other way of connecting with them.
No, that's right. And late last year, I co-authored a book with 26 other women, and we made it to international #1 in 8 countries. So that was really amazing.
Wow, fantastic,
Yes,
fantastic.
it just a bunch of women got together and telling a story of their adversities and how they came out at the other side of it, and positive. So it was a positive outcome at the end. And it was quite good. It's a
And they
series
probably
of
have you have no idea who you inspired,
No, I don't. I
who
have no
you've
idea.
touched. Right. I mean, there's a reason it was a best-selling book.
Hmm. No, it was
Hmm.
good. Anyway,
Hmm.
that's not me. That's not well, we're talking about you. So what wise words would you give to a budding author or speaker or, a trainer or consultant to get their story, their book out there?
I'm glad you asked. Now, I know some of your listeners may say, "Hey, Ted, I can't write an ebook. I can't write a book." By the way, an ebook is somewhere between like 5,000 and 9,000 words. My book was like 9,500 words. If that's too intimidating to you, here's my other tip. Go to LinkedIn. Maybe some people have been to LinkedIn to put their resume up there and never been back. Okay. But on the homepage, Rose, in the top left, there's a little button or link that says write an article. So you
Mm,
click on that link and you'll get this template. At the top of the template, it's looking for an image. And what I recommend, this is a site I like, Pixabay. Have you ever used
yeah,
Pixabay,
Pixabay,
Rose?
yeah, yeah.
Pixabay. And the reason I use them was I got a bill in the mail from Getty Images for $1,000
Mm.
because my webmaster had unauthorized use of one of their images. Now, it only has to happen once, and you'll never go there again. Okay, so
No,
the nice thing about Pixabay is, as you know, those are royalty-free images. They're uploaded by amateur photographers. Now, it doesn't mean that they're not good.
no, they are
Uh,
very good. Yeah, they
yeah,
are
because
very good.
well, our smartphones are so advanced, right? And what I like about them is they don't look like stock photography. Everybody
No,
looks so
they
prim and
don't.
proper. I mean, these are real people. Real
Mm.
pictures taken by real people. Okay, so at the top of your article, either use your own photograph or you can get one from pixabay.com. And it's a search engine. For instance, if you're doing an article about social media, you could type in social media and you'll have your choice of these images. And you can make a contribution. You can give attribution. You don't have to, though. Okay. So anyway, you've got your picture at the top, and then it's going to ask you for a headline, a title. What I would suggest as your title is put in a question somebody might type into Google about your topic. Okay.
Mm.
I'm going to be speaking to a transmission association. So what that person could do who wants to establish themselves as an expert is type in a typical question somebody would have about their automobile transmission. So that's the title. Now, the third part is in 500 words or less, you just give the answer that you'd give to a customer about that question. And you're done. You
Mm.
don't have to be an author and you want to keep it short. 500 words or less. Microsoft, you may have heard recently, Rose, they measured the attention span of a goldfish and the average adult, and the average goldfish actually can focus longer than the average adult. The average
Yeah, we've
goldfish
got
can
three
focus for 9
seconds.
seconds. Yeah. I don't know how you measure the attention span of a goldfish, Rose, but people at Microsoft are pretty smart. Okay.
Oh,
So
yes, so they
yeah.
say.
So you keep it real short. And then the very last thing you do in the upper right corner is a little blue button that says publish. You hit that button and that article goes out to all your connections on LinkedIn. And it didn't cost you anything except your time.
Mm.
So if you're struggling with writing an ebook or a book, start off with a LinkedIn article, 500 words or less, and all you're writing there is the typical answer you get to questions from customers and prospects. And why that's important is because when people type a question into Google, Google's looking for authorities who have answers. And one of the sites they go to is LinkedIn. All right. So, somebody types a question again about transmissions, Google needs to find an answer. They'll go to a site like LinkedIn and they may pull up your article. So, that's a great way to start because, people aren't looking for ads. They're not looking for advertisements. They're looking for information. They're looking for solutions to their problems.
Yes, yes, that's really great advice. Actually, I've written a few articles on LinkedIn, and
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
And then the other thing you can do with them, Rose, is that you can have a link to those LinkedIn articles on all your other social media sites.
well, you can
On,
do.
on
Yeah, I've done that
Facebook,
as well.
Twitter,
Yeah.
yeah, on your website. And what I love about that is when I did that on Facebook, it had the title, It had the like a thumbnail image,
Mm.
and then it said LinkedIn.com. It didn't say Ted Janusz. It said
No.
LinkedIn.com. Like, ooh, instant credibility.
Mm. Yeah, LinkedIn's quite good for that.
Mhm.
And I've been with LinkedIn for a number of years now, and they really have improved the way they're actually doing business with us, the public. It used to be like really hard to navigate, but now it's really quite good. They've
Right,
changed.
right. Yeah, they're trying to make it more of a social network, so people just
Mm.
don't, upload their resumes there and never go back.
Yeah, I
They're,
like their clicky mood things,
Mhm.
over Facebook ones because you want to give someone a clap. Well, you can't really on Facebook because they don't have that option.
Right.
But yeah, and I like the
Yeah.
ones on them. And I think, oh God, why doesn't Facebook get their act together? Anyway, where can people find you, Ted?
Oh, okay. The best place to find me is my website, which is Janus Presentations. It's spelled Janus, Janus, like the god. I wish I was more like him. JanusPresentations.com. Or you could email me at TED, at JanusPresentations.com. And I'd be happy to help you in any way I can.
Perfect. And do you got any more books in the pipeline?
Well, I'll tell you the way this came about, Rose, just kind of by accident. I had no idea that I was going to write this book, but for my speaking chapter, they asked me to give a presentation on marketing and branding. And so after I did that, I thought, well, if this could help my chapter, then maybe it could help other chapters. So I gave the same presentation to another chapter. Now, one of the things I keep in mind is something that Mark Sanborn said. He said, with each presentation, I try to improve it so much so that I feel like I cheated my last audience. So that's something I try and keep in mind. So it was just about a month and a half ago, I gave the presentation to the chapter in Philadelphia here, and they just raved about it on social media. And I was like, wow, I had no idea that this is actually helping somebody, just like your book, Rose. You probably have no idea who it helped. And I thought, how can I reach more people? Give them these inexpensive tips on marketing and branding. I mean, so many books that I read, and you probably do too, Rose, where it gets so in depth and you just feel so overwhelmed. You just don't know where to start, or it's expensive, it's complicated. I just want to give you like writing a LinkedIn article. How long would something like that take? And what's it going to cost you? Nothing. So just little tips like that, and what I really love is that you know what it's like, Rose. You get in with some creative people, and all of a sudden your mind starts expanding. One of my favorite things when I give presentations is I got this once on an evaluation. Somebody said, I really loved when you talked about this. I never talked about that, but in their mind, they drew the connection. So if you get a book like this, you start reading some of these ideas and you go, well, maybe that won't work for me, but I know how I can use it, how I can adapt it or adopt it for my use where you wouldn't have thought about it. That's the other reason I did it, was just kind of to jumpstart ideas. And through a book, once again, you can reach people you have no idea whose life you might touch.
That's
you
it.
know
Yep.
and so it would actually be selfish. It would be actually selfish, just like in your case, Rose, if you didn't share those stories of inspiration and hope, if you just kept those to yourself, because look how that impacted the world.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah. And as I said, I'm later on in the year, I'm going to write it won't be a business book. It'll be a personal journey book. So yeah, I'm putting it off, but I still
When
need
the
to.
time is right, you'll know.
I know it's not quite the right time
Yeah,
yet, but
yeah.
hmm,
Still in the incubation stage. Like I
yeah,
said,
yeah,
I had no plans of doing
absolutely.
this, but all of a sudden it just hit me. Like, if this can benefit these people, it might be able to benefit other people. Like I said, you're not going to, well, in your case, perhaps because you have an audience for that, but this is kind of a niche book. I knew I wouldn't become rich, but that's not the point. The point is I just want to get it out there, and hopefully it can make a difference in somebody's life.
Absolutely, and that's what I mean. That's what I'm. That's why I started the podcast, because I wanted
Right.
to make a difference to business owners, because the pandemic last year just put so many businesses on the back foot. And I thought, well, if I can get other business owners or people as yourself to come on and give them some ideas on how they can either self-improve or improve their business, then why not do it?
Right. And I appreciate you doing it.
Anyway, I so thank you so much for your time
Oh,
today.
it's been so much fun, Rose.
So fun. It's great. Yay.
I was telling Rose earlier about how much I enjoyed giving that keynote in the Gold Coast. People were just absolutely wonderful. And well, hey, this is the next best thing.
It is. Yep.
Actually being there in Australia. Yeah.
You'll get back here eventually.
I hope so.
We'll
In fact, Rose, just a shameless plug here. You might get a kick out of this. On my homepage, I have part of my keynote address. I entitled it An American in Australia. And I start off my presentation by putting up Australian phrases. And then I asked my audience, well, the people back in the States, they don't really understand what these words are. Can you translate that for them? And we had so much fun, let's see, car park, for us, that's a garage,
yeah.
And then let's see, here in the States, we have Burger King. There in Australia, you have Hungry Jack, right?
Yeah. It used to be called Burger King. There was actually Burger King, and then there was Hungry Jack's.
And I guess it's because there was a Burger King in Adelaide, and so they took Burger King to court, so they had to change their name. I actually think Hungry Jack's is a better name, personally.
Yes, so do I.
Yeah, and then you have these cars that are like half car, half truck. So
utes. Yep.
What do you call those?
Utes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't call them trucks. Trucks are big, like semi-trailers with semi-trailers on them. They're trucks.
So I had fun with that.
It's good. It's a lot of difference. I remember because I came to Australia when I was 12, and some of the.
Where did you come from?
Canada. I was born in British Columbia. Well, I was born in Alberta and lived in British Columbia most of my life. Yeah, until I came here. But just some of the words were just so foreign, and I thought, wow.
But again, to the credit of the audience, they were able to transfer that, into American.
Yeah.
It's like I was making fun of. We were talking earlier about how cold it is. What a screwy system we Americans use. Fahrenheit.
It's a bit old-fashioned now.
Yeah. Celsius makes so much more sense. Because if it's in the 20s, it's nice. 20 degrees is 68 degrees Fahrenheit, and 30 degrees Celsius is 86 degrees Fahrenheit. So as long as it's in the 20s, it's ideal.
That's it.
Simple.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Absolutely perfect.
But I have an idea. It's nowhere near the 20s right now, right, Rose?
Anyway, thank you so much for joining me today. And
my pleasure, Rose.
Really soon. Thanks, Ted.
Okay. Have a good afternoon.
I will. Bye-bye.
Bye.